The recent B patch has changed the meta drastically, knocking down all the previous S tier comps, which has led to a TF dominated meta. And in this video, I'll show you my tier list of the strongest comps, my strategy for climbing on this patch, and lastly, I'll cover how to play all the comps mentioned. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. If you're interested in getting better at TFT, then the sponsor of today's video, Tacter, is just what you need. They have a Discord community filled with gamers that want to get better at their favorite game, and they provide a free in-depth library of guides for TFT and other games like League of Legends as well. All the guides they provide are up to date and written by experts like myself. And by joining their Discord, you get access to all of this, and you're able to learn from pros and get your questions answered. Soon, the Tacter platform will be released, where you'll be able to create and share your own guides and make money off of them. If all that sounds interesting, then click the link in the description or in the pinned comment to join, and once you're in, drop this emoji so the community knows where you came from. Spellslinger, TF, and Nico is the most consistently powerful comp on this patch, depending on your items, augments, and what you hit. You can carry either TF or Nico, but TF is usually the preferred option. This comp relies on the strength of 2-star Oxforce frontline that is incredibly cheap for its power level. Infiniteam has seen a huge rise as a tempo-oriented comp that scales well into the late game. This is the best comp in the game with a spat, as it allows you to copy strong units like Aatrox and Fiddlesticks in the late game to improve your frontline, as you usually have a strong backline with TF and Ultimate S-Roll. Anima Squad is the weakest of the three S-tier comps, but it's still very strong in the meta, especially with enough fame stacks. This comp requires specific spots and items to do well, but also remains somewhat flexible since you can carry Jinx or Vayne instead of MF if you hit their hero augments. Renegade, Jhin, and Viego is a great comp to play if you have the ability to itemize both an AD and AP carry, and it's incredibly strong if you can 2-star the board on tempo. However, due to the popularity of the Oxforce frontline, it's usually hard to hit Viego too, which is especially terrible for this comp. Lucian Reroll has recently popped up as a strong comp that abuses the mid-game power of Lucian's 3 single target damage and Blitzcrank 3's incredible tankiness to push levels as fast as possible. However, if you don't hit your 3 stars on tempo, you are usually headed for a bot 4. Warwick remains an A tier after the nerfs. In general, Warwick is mostly a good tempo comp that farms top 4s using Hacker. That Laser Course variant is definitely stronger than Brawlers, but it requires more setup and relies heavily on hitting Mordekaisers or Laser Course Bat from Tome. Dualists are the weakest of the 3 ways to carry TF in the current meta. Like in set 8, the Duelist comp is a great tempo option to the early and mid game, but falls off hard in the very late game without a Duelist spat or an itemized Nyla and Vayne 3-star. Vex Reroll was gutted in the B patch, but it is still a viable option in the meta. It just needs more specific spots, as the comp requires strict itemization on Vex. This comp's main weakness is that it's not as stable as before on Vex 2-star, so if you can't hit Vex 3-star, you are likely headed for a bot 4. Mech Draven was nerfed heavily in the B patch, but remains playable from the right spot. The hacker version is the only good one, especially since it can farm free rounds in the mid game, but the comp has a bad matchup into Oxforce boards, as long as they position properly. Now let's get into my strategy for climbing on this patch. All openers are viable, but the most consistent options are Bow, Belt, and Rod. Bow flexes very well into any of the 3 TF comps, Spellslinger, Infiniteam, or Dualists, as the best items are Shiv and Rageblade, which also allows you to play Warwick, Jhin, Draven, and Duelist easily, as well as the overpowered Ashe Reroll with her carry augment. Belt keeps you flexible between pretty much every comp in the meta, but at the cost of immediate direction, so I'd only recommend this to more experienced players. Belt leans into comps like Infiniteam, Lucian Reroll, Anima Squad, and Vex Reroll, as frontline items are more of a priority there. Rod is a good option, as it's the best item for Spellslingers, which you should default to every game, while also being strong for Anima Squad. It also can be played into Renegades, Infiniteam, Lucian Reroll, Dualists, and Vex Reroll, but only from specific spots. In the early game, you want to try and win streak and preserve HP as much as possible, or full open to start stacking econ. Here are a couple of examples of early game AD boards that you can play around: Laser Core Ashe, 4 Duelists, and Draven with any frontline. And for some AP boards, we got Infiniteam or Quick Draw Lucian, Spellslinger Lux, or Anima Squad Jinx. By stage 3, you should have parts of the comp you intend on playing and know when you want to roll for your board. In general, you should level to 7 and roll down on 3-5 if you are low in HP with a lot of money, or in most games on 4-1 for upgraded frontline plus your 4-cost carry. Units like Viego, TF, Nico, and MF are incredibly contested in the meta, so others will be rolling it down here to try to find them before you. If you are playing a 2 or 3 cost reroll comp, you should usually roll down on 3-2 to stabilize and start your win streak. In set 8.5, lobby tempo is generally very high, so when you lose rounds, you tend to get blown out due to high rolling reroll players and traits like Infiniteam, Oxforce, and Hacker, so be sure to stabilize your board on level 7 before pushing to level 8. Now let's take a look at how to play each individual comp. All of these boards will be linked in an Imgur album, which is available for patrons and YouTube members, and the links to join that are down in the description. First up, we got Spellslinger, TF, and Nico. Ideally when playing Spellslingers, you can roll on level 8 to hit 2-star 4 costs, Janna, and Syndra, but you should usually roll at level 7, as you are very often contested, and the comp still plays well at level 7. Drop Echo from this board on your roll down to stabilize, and put him in at level 8. At level 9, drop Sona and Echo for Syndra and Janna, and add in Nunu. Prioritize making Shred first, in either Spark or Shiv in this comp. TF's best items are Rageblade, Shiv, JG, Giantslayer, Hodge, Gunblade, Deathcap, Archangels, and Guardbreaker, while Nico's best are JG, Guardbreaker, Sojin, Giantslayer, Deathcap, and Archangels. Tank items can go on Annie or Echo, and any extra carry items go on Viego. Infiniteam almost always rolls on level 7 for 1 TF, as 5 Infiniteam is the most important spike for this comp. If you have an Infiniteam spat, you should always try to play 7 Infiniteam and put the spat on Aatrox or Garen. Itemize TF first, his best items are Shiv, Rageblade, and Gunblade, which is especially good to heal up your 3 item clones in the frontline. Ultimate Ezreal's best items are Last Whisper, Rageblade, IE, Sojin, Deathblade, Giantslayer, Hodge, and Guardbreaker. Anima Squad prefers to roll level 8, but you usually want to roll level 7 for MF and either Garen or Echo and Riven 2-star. This is the standard board, but if you have Spreadshot Vayne, play Nyla over Kai'Sa, play Gnar with +1 Prankster, and play 7 Anima when you can, with the spat on Aatrox, Garen, or Echo. MF's best items are Sojin and Archangels, while JG, Guardbreaker, Deathcap, and Gunblade are decent options, while Vayne's best items are Sojin, Deathblade, IE, and Giantslayer. With Renegade, Jhin, and Viego, you would prefer to roll at level 8 for the Renegade board, but you usually roll at level 7 to hit Jhin and Viego, who is always very contested. +1 Renegade is great for this comp, allowing you to drop Camille for Syndra or another legendary unit. Jhin's best items are Last Whisper, Deathblade, IE, Runance, and Giantslayer, while Viego wants Spark, a healing item, and any AP item like JG, Deathcap, or Titans. Lucian Reroll is a 1-cost reroll comp, meaning you should never level on stage 2, and you should try to hoard as much econ as possible. On 3-1, you should roll down to 20 to 30 gold to try to hit as many 1-cost copies as possible, then slow roll at level 5 until you hit Blitzcrank and Lucian 3-star. Push levels for a brawler like Riven and quick draw units afterwards. Lucian's best items are Blue Buff, Deathcap, and Gunblade, but other AP items can work. Blitzcrank's only core item is Stoneplate. Any other tank items will work on him. Shiv or Spark is necessary in this comp for Magic Shred. There are 2 common Warwick boards, Laser Core and Brawler. The better of the 2 is the Laser Core board, but you have to either hit Mordekaiser or a Laser Core spat, which you can only get from tomes now, so this board is inconsistent. Rolling at level 7 is usually the best, as hitting 1 Warwick and some upgrades often stabilizes you due to Hacker. If you are playing Laser Core, you always want to push levels if possible so you can hit Mordekaiser. If you're playing Brawlers, then you have to decide whether you want to roll level 7 for Jax 3 Riven 3 or push levels. Warwick's best items are Titans, Runance, Edge and Knight, and Last Whisper, while Bloodthirster, Hodge, IE, QSS, Rageblade, and Deathblade also work. Jax's best items are RFC, Rageblade, Titans, QSS, and Hodge. If you are playing Laser Core, make sure to build Shiv or Spark. Duelist is a purely tempo comp. You always want to roll when you have multiple things you can hit to spike your board. Normally, you will roll on either 3-2 or 3-5 for 6 Duelists and some upgrades, and then again on 4-1 for TF. Lockets are the biggest priority for this comp, as they are the most efficient frontline. TF's only core item is Shiv. His other best items are Giantslayer, Deathcap, JG, Guardbreaker, and Hodge. Vayne's best items are Deathblade, IE, Last Whisper, Hodge, Sojin, Guardbreaker, Giant Slayer, and Runans. Vex Reroll now exclusively wants to slow roll at level 7. Play any frontline units until you hit Jhin for Riftwalkers, and if you get +1 mascot or hit Nunu, always play 6 mascots. Vex's only core item is blue buff, and she wants damage otherwise, with Archangels being the best. Deathgap, Giant Slayer, and JG are also good options. Tank items usually go on Malphite or Alistar, or Rammus or Aatrox if you have a mascot spat. Make sure to play Morgana for Shred unless you make Spark, and extra AD items go on Jhin. The best Draven board is currently the 3 hacker version, not the Supers one. Roll at level 6 for Draven 3, then push levels aggressively for 5 Mech, 4 Admin, or Legendaries. Draven's best items are Last Whisper, IE, and a healing item, preferably BT. Runans, Rageblade, Giant Slayer, and Titans are playable, but not as good. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they're available for YouTube members and patrons, and links to those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.